Welcome, this is your guide to earning $25 an hour using DoorDash. Here's what you're going to get out of this video. I'm going to show you how I earn $25 an hour doing DoorDash. I'm going to show you how to maximize your gas mileage. I'm going to show you what to look out in taking care of your car. If you don't have a car, I will show you at the end of this video how to get your own car. I bought my Nissan Sentra for $1,500. I'll show you how to do that for yourself. It's easier than people think, they just don't know where to look. But the simple answer is mechanics. We'll talk about that later. So for example, in January, I worked less than 40 hours a week and I made $2,578.25. In October, when I moved out to North Carolina, I made $4,148.22. I was working about 50 to 60 hours a week, somewhere in that gap. There are no benefits. You got to take care of your own car. I'll show you how to do that. Again, at the end of this video, we're just going to get to the core. I want to make 25 bucks an hour right out the gate. So here's the catch on that. There's free money to be had. As of me making this video on Saturday, March 8th, there is a $600 bonus once you do everything I'm going to tell you to do in this video. The very first step is to use a code. In the description, if you're using your phone, go ahead down there, sign up using the first link in the description. It's at the very top. If you're on your home computer, pick up your phone, use that top link. If you haven't already signed up with DoorDash, or if you've been out for like a year or 2 years, you're going to become platinum, because that's how you make 25 bucks an hour. And when you become platinum, basically right around there, you're going to get $600 as a bonus. Now they do change, they go up, they go down, but if you are platinum, you can also refer other people and get a bonus yourself for referring them. But it's kind of a first time thing. If you have been dashing, go ahead and skip over to this point. It's actually going to be the second link in the description down below. Just go ahead and skip to that. You don't have to have the rest of the other beginner stuff. But if you are new to dashing, use a code. It doesn't matter if it's 25 bucks, 600 bucks, whatever their bonus is going to be, get that bonus. So your number one priority is to get to platinum. That way you can dash and make money whenever you want to. Don't have to be like the first one there to schedule. You'll learn about that in a second. But platinum also opens you up to getting higher fares. So bigger tickets every time you dash. One dash I made like 45 bucks for 20 minutes worth of work. I'm not going to say no to that. I think that hour I made like 75 bucks an hour. But your second step after signing up with the code is to go to Dollar Tree or someplace, or if you have a notepad, get a notepad. So you're going to sign up with DoorDash, bring your notepad to your very first dash. They're going to basically do a background check on you to make sure you're not a criminal or you don't have like felonies. And then once you're in, you're basically in. I've DoorDashed with 3 different vehicles. They only know about one of them. And you could honestly do it on a motorbike if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it, but if that's all you got, that's all you got. Build up from the ground up. So if you did skip ahead, basically you're a new driver, and I'm going to walk you through the basics of DoorDash and why we're going to get a notepad. Okay, so basic up. When you first start out, you're going to have to schedule, or you're going to have to wait for a red zone. Scheduling, you'll figure out how to do it in app. And the app is pretty intuitive. It's going to tell you where to schedule right when you sign up. DoorDash is going to run your background check, then they're going to allow you to schedule. If you open up the app and you see that the zone is red or pink, that means you can dash. And they'll probably let you dash for like a half hour to an hour at a time. But if you're doing it in the evenings, like let's say the weekends, they're always hot. The evenings around dinner time, those are usually hot. You're going to take your first 100 rides. Every single one of them. I don't care if it's a really low fare, you're going to take every single one of them. So be ready for it. And the reason we're doing that is we're doing a buffer for our ratings, and we're training the system. You're basically showing DoorDash that you will accept any order, no matter what size. But that's your first 100 rides. After that, we're going to change things up a little bit. First 100 rides, you should probably get that over within the first month. And you might get a little bit over that, like 150 rides the first month. Go for the gold. But your first 100 rides are the only ones we're concerned about, because we want to get your rating up to 100% acceptance rate. And the reason for that is after your first 100 rides, accepting every single ride, you're going to have a 100% completion rate, hopefully, like you completed every ride that you accepted. And real quick about pictures, remember this is a crash course. So whenever you take a picture, make sure you take a picture of the door. Inside the app when you're delivering, you're going to see a picture of their door usually. But if you can get the building numbers or anything identifying, go ahead and take that picture, because, I mean, it's rare. It's like 1 in every 1,000 rides, somebody's going to be like, hey, I didn't get my stuff. And you're like, no, you did. Boom, I got a picture. So it's basically for record keeping, and they might use your picture for the next driver to say, this is where you're delivering to. But how the app works is, like, once you get scheduled in, you're going to turn the Dasher app on. I really don't recommend dashing by time. I really don't recommend that. You'll make a lot more money dashing by fare, or by order, or by whatever they call it in your zone. You're going to schedule your time, whether you're dashing during a pink zone or whether you already pre-scheduled. In app, you can pause it using the buttons at the top of the app. You know, those 3 little lines. You can do that and then pause if you need to pause for up to about 30 minutes. I think it's like 36 minutes, but I never go that long. And that's if you need to eat or use the restroom or do a side tour. I shop a lot of times. But when you get your first fare, what you're going to see is you're going to see a map pop up showing you kind of like this tiny little sketch out of where you're going to be driving to, how many miles you're going to be driving, how much money you're going to make, and what restaurant or store you're going to be picking up from. Now with restaurants, basically every restaurant has their own little thing. They might have a little section for you to pick up from, or they might just have a front desk person that's like, hey, here's your order. You might have to wait a little bit too. Don't mind waiting, expect to wait. That's just part of the process. You could wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or your order could be right there. Now with some of the orders, you're going to have to take a picture of the order. They might have you take a picture of the receipt, or they might just have you confirm that, hey, I picked it up, trust me. And honestly, you could have 5 different fares and 5 different ways of picking things up. Just pay attention to the app. It's really easy. And while you're waiting on your food, if you have a wait, or when you first get into your car, just look up the notes for where you're going, because sometimes the customers will leave a note like, hey, here's your gate code, or I'm this building number, or I'm this apartment. You know, just keep an eye out for it. Now, if you're doing food, sometimes you'll get pizza bags. Like if you go to a pizza place and it says, do you have a pizza bag? Ask them for a pizza bag, because a lot of these pizza places actually do have them for free now. They used to cost about $10-15 from DoorDash, but now pizza places just carry them. And I carry 2 pizza bags that I got for free. And you can be picking up from that restaurant, from a different restaurant, from that store, from a different store, or from a combination of both. You're gonna have all types of orders. And with a stacked order, you just keep track of it and deliver it. And like I said before, when you deliver it, just get some identifying stuff. Like if there's a number on the side of the house, just step back a little bit and take the picture in with it. And if the customer walks out and you're supposed to deliver it to them or leave it at the door and they decide to come out, just hand it to them. There's a button for it saying, I handed order to customer. But get those pizza bags. Ask for the pizza bags, the hot carry bags. I've only had to use them at pizza places, but they make a difference on whether you get those pizza orders with bigger tips or not. So in the DoorDash app, you could do some shopping too. I recommend doing that, but I don't recommend, like, it's up to you if you want to do cash on demand. And what that means is your customer can hand you cash, but you have to have cash change for them. Now, if you want to carry that, like $20 worth of change, a 10, a 5, and 5 ones, plus like a whole handful of actual coins, I say go for it. I personally don't like to. So all of my customers, they only pay with card because I didn't opt in to do the cash option. Remember, crash course video, you only have to watch this once. And if you want to come back for more, go for it. And if you want to ask questions down below, ask them. I will make a video for you. I just want to see you succeed. So sometimes you'll get a store order, like a grocery store. So here's the deal with shopping orders. Number one, people can add orders, like add items to your order. It doesn't happen very often, like maybe 1 item or 2 items per order, and maybe once every 5-10 deliveries. And if you got 2 shopping orders, they're going to separate them for you in the app and tell you, okay, this one goes to this one goes to that, and they're both going to be checked out separately. Sometimes you have to scan like a barcode saying, hey, this is my member number. Like, it's all really, really easy. It's just explaining it like verbally sounds long. And if you can't find an item, there's an option to substitute or maybe call the customer. It's really intuitive inside the app, and I'm not going to walk you through all of those little details. You'll figure them out. They're really simple. And if you run into a hiccup delivering or by shopping, call Dasher support. And if you are a customer watching this video, don't call them. They won't like you. They won't respond to you. This is strictly for Dashers, people who are door dashing as they're door dashing. If you're a customer and you want to complain about something or ask about something, go through the app. If you're a Dasher though, this is your lifeline. Like, DoorDash monitors how long you take doing things, and they're not strict, but if you take 15 minutes to pick up an order that's like a mile away, they're going to ask some questions like, hey, are you okay? Are you safe? And they actually do that in app. And then if you say I'm safe, they're like, okay, so what's going on here? And it makes sense for quality control. Like, you go to a restaurant and you're like waiting 45 minutes for something that should have taken 5, like a burger or fries. You're going to be asking questions. And the restaurant manager is going to be like, okay, so you're the server. Why aren't you, what's happening? Same thing with DoorDash. Like, they're not strict. They're just, quality. Now, with shopping orders, you can also up your potential for tips by signing up to deliver liquor. So you're actually going to get an alcohol license for your state to be able to serve alcohol, and you got to go through a training. But it's worth it if, like, you got to do 15-20 minutes, and then all of a sudden you can now deliver alcohol, and then people are tipping more. I say, why not? So now we're to the good part. Now we're going to teach you how to make some money. Like, you literally know everything that you're going to need to know. You're going to figure out a few things. You're going to press a few buttons, and you're going to be okay. Just remember to always click the directions button. And if you're already going to a red zone or a hot zone, turn off your navigation and then turn it back on. Real quick, newbies, a hot zone is when you're actually dashing and they say, oh, this area over here is hot. This area is over here hot. Do you want GPS directions? And this is for all drivers now. If you are on your way there, if you say, yeah, give me GPS directions to that hot zone, and then you get an order on the way, turn off all navigation and turn it back on. Why? Because there's a glitch in the app where you'll still keep going to that original destination, that hot zone, but your order's over here. It won't re-navigate until you turn it off and then back on. I've run into this about 6 times in the past month. And 2 of them, I was so late for an order picking it up or dropping it off that I got a warning. And I don't get warnings. Okay, moving on. So we've accepted our first 100 rides. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter where it's going. It could be 12 miles for $2. You're still going to take it anyway because it'll at least pay for gas. If you need to get into a different car, that'll be at the end of this video. But there are ways to get into a 4-cylinder vehicle with really great gas mileage versus driving a truck or an SUV. In my honest take, if you have an EV vehicle, like DoorDash is awesome to do. An electronic vehicle, like a Tesla. But then again, Teslas are expensive, so you're going to be making this your full-time job. But $25 an hour is still not bad. You can afford a Tesla on that. Like, it's all about perspective. I'm gonna tell you, the trash people, they don't have the most luxurious job, but they make bank. You can do the same thing with DoorDash. So the first 100 rides, you have a 100% acceptance rate. Now you can pick and choose which orders you want. Because I'm not taking any orders that are less than $1 per mile. $1 per mile. Because now you're at gold status. After your first 100 rides, if you got 100% acceptance rate and your completion rate is like 95% or higher, you're at gold status now. But you want to get to platinum, which means you might have to accept a few orders to stay above the 70% acceptance rate. And I know you're thinking 30%, 100% to 70, I'm good with that. Nope. You're going to pass a lot of rides because we're training DoorDash's algorithm. We're training the algorithm to give you $1 per 1 mile. That's the sweet spot. Now, sometimes I'll get 12 miles for $10.50. I'll take that. I'm not going to be happy about it. I'm going to be hesitant. If I'm above 90%, I'm not taking that order. But if I'm below 90%, I'll take that order. And then as you start accepting orders, like both types of orders from shopping to delivery of food, especially if you got a pizza bag and especially if you got that alcohol endorsement, you're pretty much going to get the top tier of everything that's out there. But the whole thing about gold is just like $1 per mile. That's pretty much where you're trying to stay at as you get to platinum status. You're going to get better scheduling, and the red zones, like the map is going to turn red more often when you're at gold status because you're more preferred. And so they want you, this person who's proving themselves, to go out there and make them money because that's all DoorDash cares about. And you're going to keep on doing the $1 per mile rule. Be flexible if you have to, but don't ever drop below 70%. You need to stay above 70%, preferably above 75%. And that's your acceptance rate. And it shouldn't be too hard to do depending on where you live. And I'm going to tell you where to dash in a second. Just stick with me. This is a crash course. And quick recap, if you have any issues, call Dasher support. If you are a customer and you're ordering DoorDash, don't. That's for us, the drivers, who are now going to be at gold status until you get to platinum. That's going to be 200 rides. Now, I mentioned before you need to have a notepad. While you're going through silver status, every time you get a really big fare, write down the cross street. Write down where it was. Maybe take a screenshot of your map. But we're going to write down every place that we think is amazing to start at. And through the first 100 rides, we're going to start at this place, that place. So we're going to write our starting mileage. We're going to write our ending mileage. And then by the time you reach gold status, at the end of every dash, fill up your tank. Dead serious, trust me on this. So you got your starting mileage, your ending mileage, and filling up your tank at the end of your dash. And what we're doing right here is we're tracking our mileage. DoorDash does it, but we're going to track it too. And I'm going to make a separate video for DoorDash taxes. But we're going to figure out, like a business owner, how much we're spending on gas every time we go out. And we're going to start mapping out all these different places that we know give us really good tips. And we're going to write down clusters. This is where red zones start, but not always, okay? I live right next to a cluster. And what a cluster is, you got hotels and you got restaurants. Another cluster would be a college or colleges, and then fast food. That's a cluster. You got this little circle right here. You got this thing over here that wants the fast food over here. And they're all within 5 minutes of each other. Those are what I call milk runs. So you go to a cluster to get some milk runs, meaning you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. $5, $5, $5, $5. You're making $25 an hour. And you're not driving that far either. Now, I've got a sweet cluster, or what I call a honey hole. It's a fishing term for, like, you go there, you throw in your line, and you're always going to catch a fish. So out here, I live by 5 different hotels. I've got at least 12 different restaurants around me, including a Pizza Hut, including a Taco Bell, including Burger King, including McDonald's. That is a honey hole. Throughout the day, there's going to be consistent orders where people want to pay $10, $5 for me to drive 1 mile. That's a honey hole. And you're going to be mapping these things out through your first 100 rides. Let's say you want some high tickets and it's a weekend and it's right around dinner time. You can go by these nice restaurants over here where people pay a lot more money. People always tip good for pizza, and I got Pizza Hut over here, and I also have Papa John's down the way. You're going to find honey holes if you keep track of them. Because over the 2 months it's going to take you to get to platinum status, because you have to be driving for 2 months at least. This isn't overnight, but you're going to be earning money overnight. And all of that money is going to be paid onto your Dasher card, meaning a physical card or a digital card. So if you have Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, you can add those cards to your wallet so you can tap. I'm going to talk about red cards in just 1 second. I totally skipped that. But your Crimson card, where you get paid, if you buy gas with that Crimson card, you're going to get discounts. If you buy fast food with that Crimson card, you're going to get discounts. Not much, but a little bit, and everything adds up. At the end of this, I'm going to tell you how to calculate your gas mileage, but only if you want to. That's like the very, very end. For your first 100 rides, again, you're building up your stats so that you can pick the rides that you want, and you're going to be mapping out the different places that tip really well so that you can know where to start your dash in a cluster or in a sweet spot. Maybe it's a weekend, maybe it's the evening, and you want to get those high ticket orders. Red Robin is actually really, really good for that. They take forever, but the tips are good. And then stick yourself to $1 per mile. And now we're on to the tips, because that's literally all you have to do to earn 25 bucks an hour. Dead serious. It's not much. You do more for a regular job and you're earning more doing this. You do these few different housekeeping things and you're good. And it's a really secure way to do this. Now let's talk about maintenance and how to keep this secure. So every single dash, set yourself a goal. Your goal could be 50 bucks, 100 bucks, 150 bucks. You stay out till you reach that goal. That's self-discipline, because that goal represents how we're going to break down how much money you have to earn per month in order to pay your bills. If you want me to make a video on that, I will. It's not going to be this video, but I'm going to make that video. So in the next video, I'm going to teach you how to set goals and how to budget. So once you set a goal, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, 150 bucks per day, every single dash, you should be setting aside $5. That's for oil changes, that's for maintenance, that's for in case something happens. And that money goes into its own account, into its own envelope, wherever you want to put it, where nobody's going to touch it. Other places have office expenses. You've got insurance, you've got gas expenses, you've got maintenance, and you're going to be paying for gas as you go. So I'm not including that into what you're making. I mean, realistically with gas, you're probably making about 23, 22 bucks an hour. And that's the thing. You got to make sure you're taking care of your equipment. You set that money aside, that's going to cover your oil changes, tires, parts that need to be replaced. Since that's part of car buying, I'm going to talk about how to buy cars for 1,500 bucks. And what you should be doing with your cars before and after you buy them, because it all wraps into each other. So let's cover maintenance first, so that the people that already have, DoorDash and already have their cars, like they know what to do. The number one things to look out for are check your tires. Look up a video on how to check your tires, because I'm not going to show you, but I recommend it, and it only takes a little bit and maybe a penny. But keep an eye on your tires every time you go out to your car. Okay, does it look a little bit low? Like, does it look like it needs some air? And how deep is the tread? How deep are the lines on the tires? Then turn on your lights. Like, aim them at something and say, hey, do my lights turn on? Cool. Now my suggestion, which ties into buying, is find yourself a local mechanic. Not a mainstream big mechanic, like a small mom and pop shop mechanic. The smaller the better. I've got two over here where I'm at. Auto Pros is just a couple different guys that got together and said, hey, I'm going to make a business. And then Shane's Automotive, it's a mom and pop that was taken over by this daughter and the son-in-law. Now why do I mention these? Because number one, the first place, I got tires for 40 bucks. They're like 80-90% as good as brand new. I got them for 40 bucks, not 140. I can get my oil changed at both places for 25 bucks, meaning I go buy the oil, I buy the filter, and then they'll change it for me for 25 bucks. Jiffy Lube and some of these oil change places will usually do the same type of deal. You bring the oil, the filter, and they'll do it for you for like a $25 fee. But these two mechanics I was telling you about, both of them have cars for sale for $1,500 or less. My 2004 Nissan Sentra, I got that for 1,500 bucks. And the things I had to do to it was I changed the spark plug, which should be done every time you buy a car, in my opinion. I found out it needed a new alternator. Like, it was running at first, like everything was running fine, but over time, it took a little extra effort to start up. I had to replace the battery, which I went to Amazon. Amazon, my battery cost me 25 bucks, 25 or 35. My fuel pump that I installed myself, but you can find this stuff on YouTube. How to change your spark plug, how to change your oil. I did pay somebody 80 bucks because, again, mom and pop shop over in Salem, Oregon, I paid them 80 bucks where everybody else was charging like 150, 250. I paid them 80 bucks and I bought my belts, my actual drive belt, for 15 bucks off Amazon. Pretty much if they have a 4.5 to 5-star rating, the parts on Amazon are usually pretty good. And they've got this filter thing on Amazon where you can enter your car and it will tell you whether or not that part matches your car. And then it's delivered to your front door. And I have a really awesome fuel pump, alternator, battery, like everything works. And man, this thing purrs. So make friends with local mechanics and find ones that are reliable. You'll find that they're more often reliable than not. And if you live in Salem, Oregon, Titan Auto Repair all day long. If you live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Shane's Automotive. Titan Auto Repair, I bought a classic car from them because mechanics, they keep cars and maintain cars to where they're going to keep running. They're mechanics. And honestly, I would always rather buy a car from a mechanic. They know what to look for. They've already done the inspections. They know that the car's good. And when it comes to insurance, National General is the one that I use. They are the lowest that I've encountered. So recap. $1 per mile, that gets you to 25 because you know where your hot zones are from your first 100 rides. And up until platinum status, $5 per day, you set it aside. After platinum status, $10 per day. write it into your goal. And again, next video, I'll tell you how to map out your goals to where it matches your budget and you don't worry about bills anymore. Once you're at platinum status, you make your own schedule, and you know when to make your own schedule because you've mapped it out. You've used your notepad and you've documented everything. Like, that's your key to 25 bucks an hour and financial security. Like, not security, but like, it's better than a minimum wage job. And again, I made over $4,000 in 1 month working less hours than most of the managers I know. Truthfully, I want you to succeed. Platinum gives you flexibility. I do so many other things than DoorDash. DoorDash just pays the bills. And I honestly love it. Like, I set my own schedule, I work on my own projects on my own time, and I'm talking while I'm driving or I'm listening to music. Like, it's a good time. Now, last but not least, but we're about to wrap it up. Like, we're literally just about done with this video, and you know how to make 25 bucks an hour doing DoorDash. And if you got questions, ask questions. But okay, gas mileage. Remember that notepad thing? Your starting mileage and your ending mileage, and then how much gas you actually bought. So there's 2 reasons we fill our tank at the end of each day after reaching platinum. Number 1, peace of mind. It makes all the difference. It's psychologically proven. There are studies. Number 2, we're going to take how many gallons you actually filled it up. Like, you keep your receipt, you're going to put it in an envelope, and that's going to be part of your taxes later on. And we'll do another video on taxes, but not now. We're going to celebrate you finishing. So take your starting mileage, your ending mileage, subtract the 2. And whatever you have left, you divide it by how many gallons you bought. So if you bought 10 gallons of gas, you drove 100 miles, 10 divided by 100, that's 10. That means 10 miles per gallon. So I know for a fact I get 31.24 miles per gallon average. Do me a favor, like and subscribe down below, please. I'm going to be tossing you all sorts of information moving forward. If you want to save a buck, make a buck, I will teach you. I've got tons of side hustles, and they usually work really well for me. I'm in a house. I went from homeless to house. I'm gonna show you how. Ask any questions. If you have a question, that means somebody else has that same question. Which one of you is gonna ask first? There's no shame. I will back you up if you ask a question, but just know I'm excited for you. And once you hit that platinum, a little bit past platinum, that's when you get your bonus, your sign-on bonus if you signed on. Like, tell me 600 bucks ain't happy. I say no matter what, go ahead and use that code. So don't leave money on the table when you're already gonna do all the things. But just know I'm excited for you. I'm happy to help you earn 25 bucks an hour. I think we all deserve some level of freedom, of financial stability. Just know you're going to add mileage to your car while you're doing this. This isn't going to be forever. And then you move on to your next chapter of life. But just know I'm happy to help you. If you're ever feeling generous, Patreon is at the bottom of my description. And that's only if you're feeling grateful. I ask nothing from you except a like if you're grateful. Go out there, conquer, and as always, stay amazing.